here's the next question for the problem of the day, that is simply count good numbers. Okay, so let's just see what the question is saying. If basically let's just understand it with the one example. Okay, so let's just understand here. So if I take this example, that is 2582. Okay, so basically what the question, what are good numbers, just first understand. This will be the string that will be simply given. Okay, no, not given, basically this is the digit string. Okay, and the indexes are 0 1 8 sorry, what 8 I'm saying, 2 3. Okay, simply this is the string. Okay, 0 index string, and it is the digit strings. Okay, so simply at even places, okay, at even places the numbers should be even. Okay, the condition is this. And at basically this odd places, this, the numbers should be prime. Okay, not odd, prime numbers. Okay, so simply this is the condition. And so basically you understand, okay, what are good numbers. So let's just understand. Okay, so let's just understand the input and the output, how the output is calculated. So input would be simply n equals to 1, or basically n is the size of the string. Okay, so in just first example, if you see the size of the string is 1, so we have to basically, what we do, we have to find the one size total string. Okay, and basically we have to find the total number of good numbers. Basically we have to count the total number of good numbers that can be found with one size string. That is, how many numbers could be found once with one size? That is 0 1 2 and so on, with 9 at last. Okay, so simply this can be found. And what basically this is, if you see, this is 0 index. Okay, this is 0 index, so 0 is what, even. So simply this, at this place the number should be even, so simply we have to choose only even. That is 0 2 4 6 and 8. Okay, so simply these 5 are the total count good numbers strings that can be formed. That's why the answer is 5. So basically you got the thing. Okay, so you basically got the question. Okay, and so let's just move on the approach. Okay, how basically we are going to approach this. So so if we just, let's just find, okay, let's just think, if we have given n, this is n size of the string. Okay, we have given n is size of the string. So in that size of the string, how many even places can be formed and how many odd places can be formed? Okay, so let's just find the total number of odd and even places. Okay, so for even places, how many even places could be there at n size string? So if you just think, basically you will say that it depends on the n, if n is even or odd. So let's just think. Okay, if n is even and then n is odd, so if n is even, just let's just say, take the example 4. Okay, so if n is even, that is 4, so simply there would be 4 possible places. Okay, so simply the string indexes would be 0 1 2 3, and if you see, the total number even places here are 2 and odd places are also 2. So simply you can say for even, basically if the n is even, then to calculate total number of even places, that is here, we can say n by 2. Okay, let's just write. Okay, okay, why it's not right? Okay, so you will say this should be n by 2. Okay, and then for odd, what will the odd? So simply if I just take the example of 5. Okay, so simply it would contain 5 places. So simply 0 1 2 3 and 4. So if you see that even places are one more extra than odd places, that is here 3 and here 2. So simply how we will calculate? So simply we have to plus 1 this and divide by 2. So simply you will say for odd the formula would be n plus 1 by 2. Okay. So we can't use two formulas, we have to use one. So simply we can say, because to calculate total number even places, we can say n plus 1 by 2. This will basically take both even and odd n. Okay. If n is odd or even, it doesn't matter, it will take both. Okay. If you can just check it of it. Okay. You can check for 5. Okay. Simply for odd, that is 5 plus 1 by 2, that is simply give 3. Okay. And for even, you can simply say 4 plus 1, that is 5. Okay. So simply it will give 5 by 2 and it will simply say 2. Okay. So number of places are 2 only. So simply it is working for both. Then say if we have to find the total number of places are odd, for odd basically the total number of places odd. So simply we can say n by 2, because if you see in both it is n by 2. Okay. The basically places were 2. So simply we have got the total number of places for even and odd. Let's just move further. Okay. So two things we have got, that if n is the size of the string, so total number of even places are n plus 1 by 2. Okay. And for odd, the total number of places are n by 2. Okay. Then let's just calculate how many possible numbers could be generated. Okay. So simply we know that total number of digits are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay. Okay. And for even, we only want these. Okay. That is total number of 5 digits are 5. And for basically next, that is simply we want prime numbers. So simply prime numbers are this 2, okay, 3 and 5 and 7. That is total number of 4. So 5 even. Okay. So simply 5 to the power n plus 1 by 2. Okay. So simply it will say for basically number of at even indexes, the total digit string of length would be 5 n plus 1 by 2 even indexes. Okay. Simply this would be the possible. Okay. And for odd, it would be simply 4 n by 2. Okay. So simply it would, the possible condition would be simply, okay, this. So if we just multiply this and take the mod, the answer would be come. Let's just take the n equals to 1 for n equals to 1. Okay. So simply 5, total number of would be 5 n plus 1, that is simply 1 plus 1 by 2 into 4 1 by 2. Simply, okay. So it would simply give 1 plus 1 by 2, that is 5, that is simply 2 by 2 multiply, and the remainder for this. Okay. Okay. So 1 by 2 would be simply 0. 4 was 0. Okay. So simply it will give 5. Okay. So that's how the answer is calculated. You can simply check for n equals to 4. That is, the answer is simply output was given 400. Okay. So let us see. N is equal to 4. 5 to the power that is simply 4 plus 1 by 2 multiply 4 and 4 by 2. So simply it will give 5 by 2, that is 5 to the power 2 multiply 4 to the power 2, that is simply 25. 25 multiply 4 to the power 2, that is 16. So 16 5 is 80, 8 can carry, 16 to 32, and that will simply give 400. So simply this is the answer. Simply what we have to do, we have to write the, so you basically got the approach. Let's just write the code. Okay. So code will be like we have to basically make a function that will simply, basically what we have to do, basically we have to calculate the 5 n plus 1 by 2 multiply with 4 n by 2. Okay. This we have to calculate. So we have to just calculate the powers. Okay. So we have to write a function of power. So simply we can take a variable that is simply okay, so we can simply take a variable that will return that will simply be 1, and then multiplier that will simply this x, okay, and we in this function we will take two things, that is x, that will simply be this 5 and 4, okay, these are the two, okay, the x can be only 5 and 4, and the second thing would be y would be simply the powers, okay. So if n is that like 1, then simply y would be here 1, okay. So simply this would be okay. So then how basically we are calculating, while y greater than 0 we will loop it, okay. If you have basically solved the question power that is on Leetcode, then you will can write the power basically function, okay. This is the basic part, okay. So the question is solved now, okay. So if y percent 2 is divided by 2, then simply we will multiply with, okay, and then simply if it is not, then simply okay, then we will multiply with it itself, okay, and y would be divided by 2, okay. So simply every time, and at last we will return ret, okay. So simply this will give the function, okay. If I let's just check it, okay. So let's just see, x would be simply 5, okay. For let's just calculate 5 n plus 1, and let's just say n was 1, so simply y would be given n plus 1 by 2, that is simply 1. So simply y is greater than 0, that is y is greater than 0 while is calculating, okay. Y percent 2, that is 1 divided by 2, the remainder is not equals to 1, basically not basically it is equals to 1, okay, sorry, the quotient is equals to 0, okay. So the condition is satisfying, then simply we can say return, that is return equals to 1, return was first 1 into this x is 5, so simply it will contain 5, okay. Then simply it will exit this condition, then simply multiplier, this is multiplier so multiplier would be simply 5 equals to that will simply okay, no, this multiplier will be equal to 5 into 5, that is simply 25, okay. So simply it will not again come in this loop, because y basically y will be divided by 2, that is simply y it will simply become 0, and simply at last the return, it will return ret, that is simply 5, okay. So simply this is how it will work. So this was the question. So let's just move on to the Leetcode part, okay. So here's the basically code, you can see. So we have initialized the mod because we have to return the basically in modulo, because the answer could be large, okay. So first we have declared this long log, that is quick mul function, multiply function, okay. Simply it will take the x and the y, we have told you, okay. Simply it is the power function, you can simply say. If you have just solved the power, you can simply okay see the question, okay, understand. Here the main function, you can simply we have simply returned the quick multiplier 5 to the power n plus 1 by 2, and this 4 by 4 to the power n by 2, and simply mod, okay. Simply you can submit it. So you can see, and the time complexity would be big O of logN, because simply it is working in logN, okay. So you can see, and the space complexity is simply big O 1, because it's not doing anything, okay.